Okay. Hello, everybody. This is going to be our first class. Let me just set a couple of things before we start, okay? All right, let's see who is around. Okay. Hello, everyone. Let me just ask you a question. Are you able to hear me? Are you able to see me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you can. Nice, nice. Well, first, let me introduce myself. My name is Antonio Gonzalez. I'm going to be your teacher for this course, Intermediate 3, as you already know. And don't be scared. I am just talking in English right now. No sé si cuidados de que en este momento esté hablando en inglés, porque a veces eso suele suceder un poquito, ¿no? A veces nos suele pasar que el profesor empieza a hablar en inglés y digo, ya estoy en intermedio 3, a lo mejor debería estar entendiendo absolutamente todo lo que dicen y ya se fregó, no voy a pasar. Pero no va a ser el caso, ¿sí? Por supuesto, vamos a procurar que las clases sean fundamentalmente en inglés, pero sin embargo, cualquier cosa que necesite clarificación, cualquier cosa tal vez un tanto complicada, que sea necesario que quede muy clara, pues podemos hacer uso, ¿sí? Del español. Sin embargo, por supuesto, vamos a procurar que la mayor parte de lo que digamos y hagamos sea en inglés. We're going to try to keep English as our main form of communication, because of obvious reasons, right? We are studying English after all. All right, so let me introduce myself a little bit. Some of you already know me, but probably not all of you know me, right? So my name, again, is Antonio Gonzalez. I've been an English teacher for many years now. Well, I teach English and I also teach some other things, but I've been working as an English teacher for, well, about 10 years, no, more than 10 years, because I was a teacher ever since I was practically a teenager, right? Sorry, just a little bit of noise that is happening around. So things that happen when we are in quarantine, right? So I've been an English teacher for about 10 years and I have a master's degree in English. I studied English from distance from the University of Cambridge, and I also studied a master's degree here at the Universidad de Cuenca. So those are a little bit of my credentials, and I've been working at UDA for a little bit more than 2 years now. So that's it about me. And as you know, usually when we start during the first class, it's basically about introductions and everything like that. With this situation, it's going to be a little bit difficult because of obvious reasons, right? I mean, we are not face-to-face in class. This is the closest we can get to that because of this terrible situation that the world is living. I hope you're doing okay with everything that has been happening. Of course, I'm sure you're going through a lot of problems in these difficult days, but I hope you're doing okay. Basically, I hope you are fine and that we can carry on with as much normality as possible, okay? So I hope every one of you is doing relatively okay with this pandemic that we are experiencing in the world right now. Okay, very good. Now, many of you probably have questions about the book and everything that we're going to be using, right? Les voy a decir esto en español un poquito, ¿no? Posiblemente les llegó un correo de la universidad indicando ciertos aspectos de la adquisición y la compra de libros, ciertos planes de pago que existen ahora porque posiblemente las situaciones económicas de muchos de ustedes también se ven más complicadas dada la situación. No sé si han recibido ese correo.
No.
Sí, yo sí recibí.
Sí.
Les deben haber enviado, posiblemente no lo han chequeado todavía. Ahora, obviamente por la situación que estamos viviendo, because of the situation that we are living right now, probably I'm not going to demand from you to have the book already. No les voy a exigir que tengan ya el libro de antemano. Vamos a empezar con las clases. I'm going to give you many resources, websites and everything. I'm going to send that via email and via WhatsApp so that you can use them. Entonces les voy a mandar vía correo, vía WhatsApp, recursos para que puedan estudiar, páginas web, links a videos. Posiblemente yo mismo haga videos y se los mande también. Entonces, no les voy a exigir de antemano, dada obviamente la crisis que vivimos, que tengan el libro, porque la idea es que salgan obviamente lo menos posible de sus casas, ¿no? Sin embargo, si es que tienen el chance de adquirir el libro, la gran ventaja que eso tendría es que eso es lo que les confiere el acceso a la plataforma de Cambridge, ¿no es cierto? Pero si podemos hacer los ejercicios de la plataforma, si tenemos el material sería buenísimo, pero no va a ser una exigencia en tema de puntajes ni de notas, ¿sí? Y durante esta primera semana de clases, posiblemente la siguiente también, hasta que las cosas se vayan regularizando, ya que no todo mundo puede tener acceso, pues no vamos a hacer actividades que sean calificadas, que vayan a disminuir su promedio si es que no logran hacerlas. Sin embargo, sí vamos a avanzar con clases, ¿no? Entonces es por eso necesario que estén para que no se pierdan y no tengan problemas a posterior. Posiblemente hagamos algunas actividades que van a servir como puntos extra, que sí me gustaría que las hagan, y esos puntos extra obviamente también les van a servir en el término práctico de la nota que obtengan al final, ¿no es cierto? So that's basically going to be the thing. That's basically going to be the thing. All right, now, ¿alguna pregunta al respecto? Any questions about that?
No.
No? Everything is fine? Okay, good. Right, now, speaking a little bit about this course, Intermediate 3, the idea is for us to focus a lot on the productive skills, that is speaking and writing. So we are going to orient the course as much as possible towards speaking and writing. Now, of course, the other skills, reading and reading and listening are also pretty important. They're also very, very essential and crucial to when it comes to speaking a language, right? So, of course, we're going to do that as well. We're going to be learning new grammar, new vocabulary that gets involved into everything, but there's going to be a strong focus on speaking and writing. However, speaking is something that is a little bit challenging given the current situation, ¿no? El desarrollar la habilidad de speaking en clases, dada la situación actual en la que nos encontramos, puede volverse un tanto complicado, ¿sí? Puede volverse un poco difícil, precisamente por el hecho de que no podemos estar en clase practicando speaking, pues no es cierto que es algo que se suele hacer y que estoy seguro que con la mayoría de profesores que ustedes han tenido en ciclos pasados deben haberlo hecho, ¿no es cierto? La clásica, trabajemos en parejas, trabajemos en grupos, hagamos esto. That's going to be more complicated. That's going to be more difficult nowadays, right? Al menos hasta que la situación se regularice, y no podemos saber cuándo exactamente suceda eso, ese va a ser un cierto limitante. Pero sin embargo, voy a proveerles actividades para que podamos enfocarnos en este speaking del que hablo, ¿sí? Now, speaking about speaking, hablando acerca de hablar, right? Quisiera que en lo posible piensen en lo siguiente por un momento. Something very simple, something very, very simple, just so we get accustomed to talking with this media, right? Try to answer these 3 very, very simple questions, or not answer, but do tell me. Let me share something with you here. Okay. Keep these 3 things in mind, okay? You're going to try to make a little introduction, okay? So you're going to introduce yourselves. Say something like this. For example, I'm going to introduce myself again. I'm Antonio Gonzalez. So that's the first thing you're going to say. Something very, very simple like that. Second, I'm going to say what I study. I study For example, I don't know, maybe some of you study graphic design, something like that, okay? If you're not sure what your major is, si no están seguros de cómo se llama su carrera en inglés, ¿cierto? Podrían tal vez intentar, si es que no está, así no están seguros, o omitir simplemente esa parte, ¿no es cierto? I study graphic design. Podrían decir de dónde vienen ustedes. I'm from Cuenca, in my case, right? El graphic design, obviamente, me estoy inventando por algunos de ustedes, eso no es mi caso. Y digamos algo que les interese o que les guste, ¿sí? Algo acerca de ustedes. Por ejemplo, I don't know. In my case, I love rock and metal music. In my case, ese es mi caso, pero por supuesto, en el caso de ustedes puede ser cualquier cosa. Pueden decirles algo que les guste, algo a lo que se dediquen, algo que practiquen, ¿sí? So think about it for about a minute, all right? Think about it for about a minute, and then you are going to tell me, okay? Are we clear? Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, just in case, maybe, don't forget that in this part, your microphones are open. No se olviden que para esta parte sus micrófonos están abiertos, pero posiblemente ustedes los tienen apagados. Entonces, si ustedes ven el iconito que tienen ahí, a lo mejor está con el micrófono tachado, ¿no es cierto? Maybe you have like a crossover microphone icon there. Entonces, para poder hablar, no se olviden de hacer clic en él, ¿sí? Y sería bueno en esta parte también, si es que activan video para poder verlos, ¿sí? Poder conocernos un poco, si es que tienen el chance, ¿no? If you can do that, that would be great for this part. As I told you in a mail via WhatsApp, como les dije en un mail vía WhatsApp, pues en muchas clases voy a tener silenciados los audios y los videos, por más que ustedes puedan verme a mí, porque primero por dificultades de conexión, porque consume mucho internet el que todos estemos a la vez a veces, y también porque puede volverse un poco caótico si muchos de ustedes hablan a la vez, pero para muchas partes sí lo voy a tener abierto. Entonces, nuevamente, one more time, think about that. Make a very little introduction so I can get to know you, and then if somebody wants to speak, si alguien quiere hablar, podrían irlo diciendo. Sí, también tenemos una opción interesante que es la de levantar la mano, ¿no? We have a raise hand icon. Tienen ustedes un iconito por ahí, no sé si le han usado antes, que dice levantar mano. Y entonces si es que hacen clic ahí, pues a mí me aparece y yo podría darles turnos para que sea un poco más ordenado. De lo contrario, si es que alguien ya quisiera hacerlo, if we have a volunteer, pueden hacerlo directamente también. All right? So think about it for a second, and then let's start speaking. Posiblemente no tengamos tiempo para todos, pero al menos quisiera escucharles a algunos. I'd like to listen to some of you, all right?
Teacher, tengo una pregunta.
Yes.
Se me está entrecortando su voz. No sé si les está pasando a los demás compañeros porque no le puedo escuchar muy bien.
Sí.
El audio no está posiblemente es por la conexión a internet.
Porque no, o sea, hay partes que no se le entiende.
¿Es que se está entrecortando o es que no se escucha el volumen bien?
No, se está entrecortando.
Entonces, eso por desgracia debe ser un problema de la conexión, ¿no? Eso por desgracia debe ser un problema de la conexión, pero de momento procuremos hacer esto simplemente, ¿no? Entonces, simplemente una pequeña presentación que ustedes hagan, ¿sí? A little presentation that you do, a little, not presentation, introduction, que se presenten a ustedes, ¿sí? ¿Esa parte se pudo entender? ¿Entendieron eso?
No, profe.
Yes.
No, es que se corta full. O sea, a mí se me corta full su video.
Ya, entonces voy a hacer lo siguiente, les voy a escribir entonces, ¿ok? I'm going to type it. Les estoy escribiendo la instrucción en caso de que no se escuche bien, ¿no? Ok, vamos a hablar un poquito. A ver, lo voy a hacer así. Monto esto. Ahora sí. Okay, so you're going to speak a little bit about yourselves. Can you see this screen? ¿Pueden ver la pantalla que estoy escribiendo este momento?
Sí.
Yes.
All right, very good. So speak a little bit about yourselves. Something very simple, okay? Do something very simple. And so we're going to say something like, for example, I'm, and you say your name, of course. Say what you study, I study, and mention your major. By the way, major is carrera, okay? La carrera universitaria. All right, I study. Then let's say, for example, I like, I love, I hate, I don't know. Playing video games, for example. Okay, something like that. Can you do that? ¿Pueden hacer eso?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, who would
Yes,
like to
teacher.
go first?
Yes.
Can I?
Yes, sure.
Hi class, my name is Camila Ordóñez. I study engineer of production, and something that I like to do for me in my free time is exercise.
Nice, nice. Very nice. Thank you, Camila. And what kind of exercise do you like to do?
When everything was normal, I used to go to, but now I have to train in my house.
Sure, sure. I understand. Very good. Nice to meet you, Camila. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Well, you're welcome.
Thank you, Camila. That was very good. ¿Alguien más? Anybody else?
Can I speak?
Sure.
Okay. I'm Juliana Gonzalez. I study station, and in this free time, I love to cook a lot of things. I learn to cook desserts and that kind of things.
Oh, nice, nice, very good. And what is your favorite dessert?
Sorry, I didn't listen.
Yes, what is your favorite dessert?
Oh, tiramisu.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you very much. Juliana, right?
Yes, Julian.
All right. Thanks, Juliana. All right. Anybody else?
Can I talk?
Sure.
Hi, I'm Tatiana Machado. Study architecture. I love drawing and reading.
Nice. And what kind of things do you like to draw?
Landscapes, pieces, a lot of things.
Nice, nice. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, would you repeat your name, please?
Sorry, I can. hear
Yes,
you.
can you tell me your name again, please?
Tatiana Machado.
Nice to meet you, Tatiana. Thank you very much. Huh?
You're welcome.
Now, anybody else?
Can I speak, teacher?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Hello, my name is Mateo Gomez. I study production engineering. I'm
Mm-hmm.
from Cuenca, and usually in normal times, I love training basketball and go gym.
Mm-hmm. I see. And what are you doing in your free time nowadays that you can't leave the house?
Mm, Normally, I spend the time with my family
Mhm.
and and and, and play in the PlayStation and more activities.
Mhm.
I
And
don't remember it right now.
sure, I get it. And what PlayStation games do you like?
FIFA 20,
Hmm.
Call of Duty,
I see.
and yes,
Nice, nice. Okay, good to hear. Good to hear. Yeah, Call of
yes,
Duty is pretty
thank you,
good
teacher.
for learning English.
Yeah,
That's right. Very good. Thank you, Mateo. Right?
yes, teacher.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Mateo.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Can I speak?
Sure.
All right. So my name is Freddie. I study clinical psychology. Actually, this is my first course.
Mhm.
I have never gone through this. I really like playing video games and like riding my motorcycle. That's what I like most.
Oh, so you probably miss your motorcycle a lot these days.
Yeah, a lot. I'm actually feeling like even sick, like getting in here.
I see. I understand. And you study clinical psychology, right?
Excuse me, I can hear you.
You study clinical psychology?
Yeah, that's right.
I see. So probably these, I mean, I know these are terrible times, but this situation might be interesting for you as well, right?
Yeah, it's like a great study, like
Mm-hmm.
a great project we can all learn from.
I see. Yes, exactly. Okay, that was very good. Thank you. Well, your name is Freddy, right?
Yep.
Okay, very good. Nice to meet you, Freddy. Good. Now, anybody else?
Teacher, can I talk?
Sure. Yes.
Well, I am Francisco Guillem. I am a law student. I am from Cuenca. I am in my free time. I like to do cardio and cook.
Oh, nice. Very good. Very good. And what kind of things do you like to cook?
Uh, some desserts, sometimes rice and egg.
Okay, good. Yeah, the classic, right?
Yeah.
Nice, nice. Very good. And you study
Um,
law, right?
yes.
Good, good. How is your major going? Don't forget this. When you say, everybody, when you say career, you are referring to the work you do when you're already working and earning your money, right? But when you say major, that is what you study in the university, okay? In Spanish, both are carrera, but in English, we have them with different words, right? So how is your major, your law major?
Sorry, teacher, I can hear.
How is your major going? Your law studies, are they difficult?
Oh. Mm, sometimes the teachers send sometimes readings so expensive, but it's not difficult to read.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Your name is Francisco, right?
Francisco Guillén.
Yes. Nice to meet you, Francisco. Thank you very much. All right. Anybody else?
Can I talk, teacher?
Yeah, sure.
Hi, my name is Adriana Galarza. I study clinical psychology. I'm from Cuenca, and I like to read and paint in my free time.
Oh, nice. And what kind of things do you like to paint?
Some books and the things that I have here.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. That's right. So you like to read and you like to paint, right?
Yes.
Nice. And what kinds of books do you like to read?
More than fantasy and romantic books.
I see. I see. And what is your favorite novel, for example? What's your favorite book?
Now I'm reading a book that his name is Oscuros.
All right.
Or Fallen.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think I knew the name in English, right? Because a lot of times the name in Spanish and the name in English are not the same or very different, right?
Yes.
Yes, nice. But I haven't read it, but I've heard it's pretty good. Nice,
Yes.
nice. Nice to meet you, Adriana, right?
Yes.
A pleasure to meet you, Adriana. All right. Let's do, because of time constraints, we don't have a lot of time, you know. Let's do one more person, okay? Let's do one more, then probably I'll keep meeting the rest of you in following classes, right? So can anybody else go? Anybody else? One more person. Yes, sure.
Okay, hello everybody, my name is Christopher. I study architecture, and in my free times I love to play the guitar and play video games. Before quarantine, I like to go to the gym, and that.
Okay, yes, I understand. Nice to meet you, Christopher. And do you still work out at home a little bit? Do you still exercise at home or not?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit, yeah, sure. And what
A little bit, yeah.
And what kind of video games do you like?
Like Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
Yeah, that
okay.
kind of video games.
Yeah, those are pretty good. And if you set them in English, they are also pretty good for learning English.
Excuse me.
If you play those video games, because I know Assassin's Creed has a Spanish option, but if you play it in English, it's pretty good for improving.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, and your name is Christopher, right?
Christopher, yeah.
Nice to meet you, Christopher. Nice to meet you, Christopher.
Nice to meet you.
All right, so it was nice to get to know a little bit about you today. It's going to be, or I think we have time. Let me see. Let's continue with the introductions tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow we'll have our next session. For now, let's, because we have just 1 hour of time, right? I want to ask you a question, all right? Before we continue with the class. This is something that I usually ask everybody in my first class, and the question is, why do you think it is important to learn English, right? Because it's good to keep this in mind, right? So, any volunteer, think about it a little bit, because sometimes we just learn because because the university demands it, and that's true, but why does the university demand it? Why do all universities consider that students should know English? What do you think? Why is it important?
I think that it's important because it opened a lot of doors to uh, new people, and I don't know, maybe have a job that you always want and you can do it because you don't know English and that kind of things.
Yeah, that's right. It is true. It opens many doors. That is right. That is right. And yeah, speaking about job opportunities, we know that English has become extremely important. You know, I don't know, 30 years ago, knowing English was a big advantage. But nowadays, if you don't know English, you are in disadvantage. Do you get it? And but yeah, that was very good. That was very good. Yes. So job opportunities. Thank you very much. That was a very good answer. Anything else? Anything else? So, for example, yeah,
And maybe for working life,
maybe.
travel.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So traveling, that's a big thing, right? If you want to go to a different place in the world, chances are that people there might not speak Spanish, but it is very likely that they will speak English, right?
Yes.
So yeah, thank you very much. I'm sorry, what is your name?
Tatiana.
Nice, Tatiana. Thank you very much. Yeah, that is another good reason. So, anything else?
To get mm, I don't know how to say, another degree, like a specialization in our first major
Yes,
in
exactly.
another country.
Exactly. Yeah, to to do your graduate studies. That's right. Like a specialization, right? Like a master's degree, like a
A
PhD,
master
right?
degree.
That's
Yes.
right. So graduate studies, master's, PhD, right? Things like that. Exactly. Yeah. What is your name? Of the person who spoke. What is your name?
I am Camila.
Okay, Camila, thank you. So yeah, that is a very good reason for knowing English, right? If you want, probably you want to study a master's after you finish your major, right? How many of you want to study a master's degree after you finish with your current studies?
I hope.
Yeah, maybe many of you want to do that, right? So yeah, that is a very good reason. And probably you want to study abroad. Do you know what is the meaning of this word? Let me type it here. Abroad. Do you know what is the meaning of this word?
Yeah.
And what does it mean?
Extranjero.
Yes, that's right.
En el extranjero.
Exactly, that's right.
En el exterior.
En el extranjero, en el exterior. Exactly, that's right. So maybe a lot of you want to study abroad, right? Maybe many of you want to go to a different country to study your master's or maybe even a PhD, right? But maybe some of you want to study in a place where people speak Spanish, right? And you say something like, why do I need so much English if I'm going to study a master's in Argentina, if I'm going to study a master's in Spain and it's going to be in Spanish? Even if the masters, I mean the classes are in Spanish, a lot of the things that you're going to have to read are in English, right? Incluso si la maestría, el PhD que quieren estudiar es en español, hablando de las clases, pues mucha de la información escrita con la que se van a topar está en inglés. A lot of the information that you're going to see and find is in English, right? Because, everything that is good information, a piece of research. Do you know what is the meaning of research? Does anybody know this one? Research?
Búsqueda.
Something like that. Search.
Investigación.
Yes, that's right. They are related actually,
Investigación.
right? Exactly. So search, buscar, búsqueda, right? And research, casi casi es como rebuscar, ¿no? Research, that's right, investigación. That's right, correct. Thank you. So, so yeah, a lot of the research that is very, very good, that is that provides important knowledge for the world, gets translated into English, right? It's not just about that only in the United States or only in England good things are produced, but no matter what area, it can be about social studies, it can be technical sciences. The best pieces of research are translated into English, right? So yeah, that is a very good reason for learning English, your graduate studies, right? And anybody else? So what? One more person maybe. What do you think it is important to learn English? Any other reason?
Can I speak?
Can you repeat
Yeah, sure.
the question, please?
Yes. Why? Again, what other reasons do you have for finding English important? Why do you think it's important to learn English? And somebody was going to give me an answer. Please continue.
Yeah, I was. So I think that in the world we actually live in, it's a globalized world. So we need to learn the globalized languages like Russian, Mandarin, and obviously English. Those languages can open a lot of doors for us, like in work, in social, and in everything, literally everything.
Exactly. That's right. I completely agree with you. That's right. That's right. Because English and also, well, yeah, other languages such as Mandarin, Mandarin Chinese, right, are very important. But yes, at least we should know English, right? Por lo menos que sepamos inglés, right? So it is the universal language. It is the universal language. So yeah, thank you very much. That's a very good reason, right? If you go to Japan, if you go to Sweden, it's not a lot of chances of people speaking Spanish there, but you will find somebody who speaks English, right? Okay, very good, very good. Yeah, so those are some very good reasons. So let's not forget the reason why we learn English, right? The reasons why we learn English, because sometimes we only do it for, for passing a course and things like that. And of course, it is important to pass the course. It is something you need to do in order to graduate, in order to get your degree, in order to work and everything. But let's remember that learning English is actually very, very important in real life, in the lives that you're going to live and that you are living right now. It's always going to be pretty important. Así no nos guste, pero es como el mundo se ha construido, pues no durante el último siglo, me refiero al siglo pasado y a este, ¿no? That's right, very good, thank you very much. So those are some very, very good reasons. Now, speaking of English, let's go a little bit into speaking itself, right? As I told you a moment ago, in this course, we're going to focus a lot on speaking. We are going to do listening, reading, we're going to learn new grammar, new vocabulary, but the main focuses are going to be writing and speaking. So, when it comes to speaking, let me ask you a question, right? Speaking. What aspects of speaking do you think are important, right? We're not talking about reading right now. We're not talking about writing, just speaking. What aspects of speaking do you think are important? For example, I'm gonna give you an example. Pronunciation. Do you think pronunciation is important?
Yes.
It is important, right? It is important. Now, if you don't pronounce something correctly, a native speaker might not understand you, right? However, when it comes to pronunciation, it is considered that there is like a basis, a minimal standard for pronunciation that is acceptable, right? And it doesn't matter if your pronunciation is not exactly like the pronunciation of a native speaker. Se considera que incluso si la pronunciación no es exactamente igual a la de un nativo hablante, eso no necesariamente va a ser un defecto. However, the closer you get, probably the less problems you will get when trying to make yourself understood. Entre más cercana sea la pronunciación, por experiencia, ¿no? Entre más cercana sea su pronunciación a la de un nativo hablante, menos van a ser las dificultades para que un nativo hablante les pueda entender. Pero como digo, no tiene que ser en términos prácticos absolutamente igual, right? It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but the closer you get, the better, right? ¿A qué voy con esto? Si es que alguien pronuncia una palabra muy distinta a como es la pronunciación nativa, pues ahí puede haber un problema de comprensión, ¿no es cierto? Por ejemplo, si alguien pronuncia, ¿cómo pronunciamos esta palabra? How do you pronounce this word? Say it. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Si alguien viene y dice people, un gringo va a decir, so what the hell is people? ¿No es cierto? Sí, entonces, a eso me refiero con ese mínimo estándar, ¿no es cierto? Right? So words have to be pronounced so that they are understandable for a native speaker. Por ejemplo, en este ejemplo extremo que estoy poniendo, si es que yo hubiese escuchado people, yo entiendo a lo que se refieren porque yo hablo español, pero alguien de otras lenguas, alguien que hable otros idiomas o alguien que solamente habla inglés, que su lengua nativa es inglés, pues esa persona no va a entender, ¿no es cierto? All right. Very good, very good. Now, so yeah, pronunciation.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yeah, sure.
Talking about pronunciation, we gonna learn British English or American English?
Good question, good question. Well, the course is mostly focused on American English. However, I like to point out the differences between American English and British English, and actually that is something that I was planning for tomorrow's class.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Just so you get an idea, right? Because there are differences, and you know, and even those are not the only ways of speaking English. I mean, there's Australian English, there's Indian English, so many things. But probably, yeah, the two for practical reasons, the two most important for you to learn might be American English and British English. We are going to focus on American English. I mean, the course, most of the recordings, the listening exercises that you have on the book, the writing and everything is American. And also, my accent comes a lot closer to American English than to British English. However, tomorrow we are, but it is also important to at least recognize British English and to be able to understand how it sounds, because sometimes we encounter that, right? So tomorrow we're going to be speaking a little bit about the differences between American English and British English. Okay, does that sound good?
Yep, that's good.
Yes.
Okay. Nice, very good. So yeah, pronunciation is an important part of speaking, but oftentimes it is the only one we think about. A menudo es en la única que, aunque es importante, pero a menudo es la única en la que pensamos. Pero ¿qué otros aspectos del speaking se les ocurre a ustedes que pueden
We
ser
have to choose the
importantes?
correct words
Sorry?
For example, I have a little of difficulty when I am choosing the correct word to express something, because as we know, we translate our words to English, but in English it has another definition, and it is too difficult sometimes.
Yeah, I understand. Yes, exactly. So the general thing would be vocabulary, of course. But yeah, going specifically into what you're saying, that is correct. That is correct. Like, for example, there are things like, speaking about vocabulary, right? There are things like false cognates. Now, first, false cognates is the technical term, but usually we just call them false friends. False friends. Let me give you a very simple example. How do you say, or what is the meaning of library? What is the meaning of library?
Biblioteca.
Exactly.
Biblioteca.
Ajá. And exactly, biblioteca, right? Pero ¿a qué se parece? What does it look like? Es biblioteca, pero en realidad si yo solo veo y no sé tanto, a lo mejor me imagino que es librería, ¿verdad?
Yes.
However, it is biblioteca. Now, that is a false friend because it looks like something in my native language, but it actually means something else. So that was a very good point about the vocabulary, right? And sometimes we have things like this. Actually. Do you know what is the meaning of actually?
Realmente.
En realidad,
Exactly, very good. Y tiene toda la pinta de ser actualmente, pero no, es en realidad, realmente, ¿no es cierto? That's right, very good, very good. So those are false cognates. We get that. And as we were saying, sometimes we say things in a way in Spanish, and but in English they don't translate as well, right? So yeah, esto solo un pequeño aspecto de todo esto, solamente es un pequeño aspecto de toda la situación como para dar un ejemplo de que sí, el vocabulario con mucha frecuencia puede ser un limitante. No solo el vocabulario, sino la forma en la que nos expresamos, ¿no? The way to express things in another language. Sometimes we make like a literal translations from Spanish, right? A veces hacemos como una traducción literal del español, and that doesn't always work. Another thing that is a little bit challenging in English are phrasal verbs. So we have, you know, when it comes to vocabulary, false cognates, right? We also have phrasal verbs. Do you know what are phrasal verbs? What phrasal verbs are? Anybody? Are you familiar with phrasal verbs? No, not sure? Well,
yes.
Yes. What are phrasal verbs? Or could you give me an example of a phrasal verb?
For example, piece of cake.
Oh, that is more like that is more like an idiom, which is also important. Let's speak about idioms before we go into phrasal verbs. Yes, idioms. That's a good one. Idioms. So, first of all, well, hablando de esto, idiom viene a ser también un false cognate, ¿sí? Porque idiom tiene toda la pinta de ser idioma, pero en realidad idioms son expresiones idiomáticas, ¿no? How do you say idioma in English?
Language.
Language, that's right. Very good. Okay, so idioms, that's a good one, like the one you mentioned, piece of cake, right? Literalmente, literally, piece of cake sería pedazo de pastel, ¿no es cierto? But what is the real meaning? What is the actual meaning? It's piece of cake. That's facilito.
Es muy sencillo.
That's right. Very good. Exactly. Chauchita dirían ustedes. Right, that's right. So those are also very important to know when it comes to vocabulary, right? When it comes to vocabulary, these aspects are important. False cognates, idioms, right? Or are you familiar with this idiom? It rings a bell. Have you ever heard this one? It rings a bell? No? Well, literally, it means como que hace sonar una campana, ¿no? Ese sería el significado literal. Pero en términos prácticos, lo que significa it rings a bell es me suena, como decir que me recuerda algo. It rings a bell, right? Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Good. So that is also another important aspect of vocabulary. So we have false cognates, we have idioms, I mean, idiomatic expressions, right? Those are idioms, right? And there are many, many more. Does anybody know any other? ¿Alguien se le ocurre algún otro? Can anybody think of another? Not sure? Well, anyway, let's go into phrasal verbs. So, phrasal verbs, these are two-word verbs. Palabras de dos o tres, me refiero a verbos, perdón, de dos o tres palabras, ¿no? For example, what is the meaning of look? Very easy, but what is the meaning of look? Ver, mirar, ¿no es cierto? Mirar, ver puede ser en algunos casos. But let's make it phrasal. Ese sería solo el verbo base. That is the base verb, right? But what about look for? What is the meaning of look for?
Buscando.
Yes, that's right. Correct. Thank you very much. Look for, buscar. What is the meaning of look after? Literalmente, en algunos casos podría traducirse como mirar después, pero tiene un sentido más general. Cuidar. That's right. I have to look after my little brother. I have to look after my sister. Things like that, right? Okay, very good. So those are examples. These two are examples of phrasal verbs, right? Can you think of another phrasal? Let's erase the look, because look is not a phrasal verb, but the combination of look and the other words are, in fact, phrasal verbs. Can you think of another phrasal verb? Can you think of another phrasal verb?
Maybe make.
Which one?
Make.
All right, with make, we can have many of these, right? With make.
Make up.
Make up, that's right. Make up can have different meanings, right? Well, bueno, ustedes saben, si digo make up como una sola palabra unida, eso es maquillaje, ¿no? Funciona como sustantivo en ese caso. Pero make up en este caso podría ser inventar, imaginarse, that's right? Make up, inventar, imaginarse. For example, he made up a story. She made it all up. Ella se inventó todo, no era verdad. Or he made up a story, él se inventó una historia, ¿no? So, make up, inventar, imaginarse. O también, make up puede ser reconciliar o hacer las paces, right? Make up, right? So yeah, very good example, very good example.
Calm
down.
Calm down.
Oh, is turn.
Calm down. Which one, sorry?
Turn.
Turn. Yes.
On, turn over.
Exactly. We have so many with turn, right? Turn on, turn off, turn up, turn down. Many, right? What is the meaning of turn on?
Power up, start operating.
Yes. Turn on, encender, no? What is it? Turn off. I turn on the light. Yes, that's right. And what is the meaning of turn up? Do you know that one? Do you know this one? This one means subir, usually, subir el volumen, es para lo que más se usa. Puede ser también subir el volumen o la intensidad de algo, por ejemplo, subir la intensidad de la corriente eléctrica, subir el volumen de un flujo de agua, alguna cosa así. Pero lo más típico es subir el volumen. For example, can you turn up the TV? Puedes subirle el volumen a la televisión, right? Okay, good. So those are some examples of phrasal verbs, which we will also study in more detail in a following class. But yeah, speaking about vocabulary, we have many things. And like one of you said very appropriately, there are all of these things that are not literal translations, right? Tenemos todas estas cosas que no son traducciones literales y que pueden ser un reto porque se usan mucho. Por ejemplo, ustedes saben que buscar es search, pero mucho más típico que search, lo que un nativo hablante diría es look for. Y por ende también es con lo que más se van a topar cuando escuchen a un nativo hablante. This is the one that you're going to find the most when you are actually speaking with a native speaker or with somebody who speaks English proficiently, right? Ahora, tenemos estos aspectos, ¿no? Pronunciation, vocabulary, y ya mismo terminamos, entonces voy a apurar un poquito con esto. Y otro aspecto muy importante, por supuesto, grammar, structure, claro, tener la gramática y la estructura correcta, no necesita esto mayor explicación, ¿no es cierto? Right? Y un aspecto importante que a veces no le damos la importancia que de verdad requiere, valga la redundancia, es este. Fluency. Now, what do you think fluency is about? And with this, we finish. What do you think of fluency? What is it to have fluency when you speak?
Es fluidez.
Exactly. That's right. So let me give you an example. I'm going to do it in Spanish, all right? Si yo, por ejemplo, estoy hablando así, ¿estaré ahí hablando con fluidez o no? No, no es cierto, aunque claro que con el internet como está funcionando, de todas maneras no está muy fluido. Pero es eso, ¿no? Fluidez es no, bueno, para empezar, speak at normal speed. Hablar a la velocidad normal. This doesn't mean to speak very, very fast. Of course, if you can speak very fast, that is also fluency, right? It means you're very fluent. But at least to speak at normal speed, not too slow, right? Now, and the other thing is not to make unnatural pauses, no hacer pausas que no son naturales. ¿A qué me refiero con esto? Justamente es algo que suele hacer mucha gente que está aprendiendo una segunda lengua y es hacer pausas detrás de cada palabra. Digo una palabra y enseguida pauso. Por ejemplo, speak at normal speed. Ahí estoy haciendo pausas que no son necesarias, ¿no? Al hablar con fluidez es como que una palabra salta directamente a la siguiente como si fueran una sola. Speak at normal speed. ¿Sí? Right? So, in order to practice fluency, para practicar fluidez, hay algunas técnicas interesantes. Por tema de tiempo, no me voy a avanzar mucho a indicarles esas técnicas ahora, pero les voy a mandar por correo y también por WhatsApp un video que quisiera que vean acerca de una técnica que se llama shadowing, ¿sí? Y también les voy a asignar una pequeña tarea para la próxima semana que tiene que ver con esto, ¿sí? And so I think that's it for today. Please pay attention. Be on the lookout for your WhatsApp messages and also for your email. And our next session, nuestra próxima sesión, it's going to be tomorrow at this same time. All right, tomorrow at 1 p.m. All right. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you very much for your attention, and see you tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, teacher.
Bye.
Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.
See you. Have a nice afternoon.
Two.
Bye, teacher.
Goodbye. See you.